Counselor. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, to call the Tuesday, December 11th meeting of the St. Joseph County Board of Commissioners to order. Please stand for the pledge and remain standing for a brief prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Heavenly Father, we come to you this morning asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in a meaningful meeting to make decisions for our county that follow your desires. As trusted officials, we seek blessings on our efforts today and ask for your wisdom to help us do right by all concerned. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
All right, first item of business, opening and reading of bids. Notice there are none. Moving to reports and requests from the Board of Commissioners. First item, the accounts payable docket. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item, 2019 meeting dates. We have them noticed here. Once again, we will continue with the course of having our public meetings on the first and third Tuesdays of each month. One exception of that would be our meetings in December of 2019 will be on the 10th and the 17th.
Well, the first one will be on the second,
Right.
Wednesday.
Yes. Yes. that is-
Right after New Year's.
Any questions or comments? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve our commissioners' meeting dates for 2019.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next up, we have a series of board appointments. Commissioner Thomas.
Thank you, Commissioner Castelli. Counselor, just for expedition, would it be okay for items C through H, which are just a bunch of appointments, to make it one vote?
You certainly can't adopt the slate as presented, Mr. Thomas.
Thank you.
All right, then, I assume, Counselor, we need to open and do the nominations as normal, then just we'll wait and have one
vote at the end.
Slate.
Okay. All right, so first is the appointment to the St. Joseph County Public Library. I will now open up nominations.
There's a nomination for Marvin Curtis.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any other nominations? We'll close the nominations. Moving then to reappointment for Area Plan Commission. I'll open up nominations.
I have a nomination for Robert Hawley.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any other nominations? I will then close the nominations. Moving on to reappointment to the Drainage Board. Open nominations.
I have a nomination for Thomas Schlarb.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any other nominations? Hearing none, I will close the nominations. Next, reappointment to the Airport Authority Board. I will now open nominations.
A nomination for Thomas Botkin.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any other nominations? Seeing none, I will close the nominations. Next, reappointment to the Northern Indiana Commuter Transportation District. I will now open nominations.
Have a nomination for Andrew Kostelny.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any other nominations? I'll now close the nominations. Next, reappointment to the Redevelopment Commission. I will now open nominations.
I have nominations, 3 nominations for for each position. Dennis Jordan, Steve Infalt, and Velvet Canada.
I second all 3 nominations.
Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any other nominations? Hearing none, I will close the nominations. And I don't know.
A motion to approve the nominated individuals for agenda items C through H as presented would be appropriate.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The slate of appointments has now been passed. We'll make sure that each of them is notified of this. All right. Next up, complete count committee for 2020 census liaison. I think this is as we begin looking at the census of 2020, and taking the first steps of the county to begin facilitating this, and appointing Larry Magliazzi as that point of contact. Any questions or comments? Commissioner Thomas?
I think Larry's a great candidate for this. He did a good job in the 2010 census and maybe even the 2000. I'm not sure.
Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve this complete count committee on the 2020 census liaison.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next, Resolution R19C2018, intent to conduct a commissioner's sale to sell tax sale certificates for properties that are severely delinquent. Counselor, I'm not sure who's
Yeah, I know.
covering this, or is
Typically,
this...
it'd be for Mr. Heppenheimer, but he's presented this consistent with past practice to have the properties that are severely delinquent identified for placement on the commissioner's tax sale.
Any questions or comments? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve this Resolution 19-C-2018 to conduct commissioner's sale to sell tax sale certificates for properties that are severely delinquent.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Next, bills passed by the St. Joseph County Council. At a public hearing held on Tuesday, December 4th, council took the following action. Bill 8318 became ordinance 6318, establishing salaries in the health department. Bill 8418 became ordinance 6418, establishing salaries at the Juvenile Justice Center. And finally, Bill 8218, ordinance 6518, is the monthly transfers and appropriations. Any questions or comments regarding any of these items? Commissioner Thomas?
Thank you. I'm not sure who to ask for this, JJC or Mr. Murphy. It looks like this ordinance 6418 is the application of a grant, which looks like some raises, okay, and for the year 2018. And there's only, what, one or two payrolls left for the tax year of 2018. So will these funds be paid just in those two payrolls?
No, it's a fiscal grant, so it ends July.
Would you come to the counter? Put your name, address, please.
Cheryl Rush, Controller, Juvenile Justice Center, 1000 South Michigan. It's a fiscal grant, so it ends June 30th
June 30th of 2019?
of 2019.
Okay, so even though the ordinance says it's for the year of 2018, it's not going retroactive,
Right,
correct?
correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? If not, is there a motion?
Motion to approve these ordinances, number 63-18, 64-18, and 65-18.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item, request from the Health Department, request approval to apply for the Indiana Overdose Response Toolkit. Please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, Betsy McHugh, 227 West Jefferson, 8th floor, epidemiologist at the Health Department. We're requesting approval to apply for the Indiana Overdose Response Toolkit from the State Department of Health, $20,000 to apply towards strategies to combat the opioid crisis that has affected St. Joseph County.
Any questions or comments? Commissioner
Thank you.
Thomas?
I would just note there might be a little scrivener's error on your request. It didn't have the word approval, so it just had the word endorsement. And
Okay.
certainly we would endorsement, but it doesn't,
Approval.
endorsement doesn't have the legal standing of the Board of Commissioners, such
Okay.
as approval. So, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion?
A motion to approve this request for the Indiana Overdose Response Toolkit.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Next up, Department of Human Resources, request approval of liability coverage. Excuse me.
Kim Karkowitz, Human Resource Director at 227 West Jefferson on the 7th floor of this building. We have brought to you a request for the liability coverage for the county. I do have a representative from R&R here that can answer questions that you might have regarding the additional coverage that we're looking for the year of 2019.
Robert Frick from R&R Benefits, 1251 North Eddy Street, Suite 201, South Bend, Indiana, 46617. We've gone through a process over the last 2 or 3 years of trying to obtain liability coverage for St. Joseph County. Currently, there is no liability coverage in place. We've worked with the insurance committee, the auditor's office, in trying to secure at least a catastrophic type of coverage. So what we've ended up with, I think it's in your packet there, we are going to have $1 million deductible, so the $1 million still applies for St. Joe County to pay out of their self-insurance fund. That's going to cover law enforcement liability, auto liability, employment practices, employee benefit, premises liability. And then our limit after that $1 million will be $5 million. The best quote that we had came from a company named Safety National. Premium on an annual basis is $118,055. We did have other quotes that ranged from that number up to $169,000. We did get one alternative quote, or actually 2 alternative quotes, of a $750,000 deductible retention. The first one was $159,505 from Safety National, and then a wholesale program called Trident was at $167,125. Recommendation after discussion with various people in the insurance committee would be to take the $1 million retention at $118,055. Any questions that I could address?
Are there indeed any questions? Mr. Thomas?
Thank you, Mr. Frick, for you and your firm working on this. I know commissioners have been asking you to research for the last few years, and appreciate this. And then also the premiums coming in under projection. For those that don't know, what type of liabilities might this cover?
Auto liability, public officials liability for anything that you guys do in your work, employment practices, which would be wrongful termination, sexual harassment, American Disabilities Act. I don't know if I mentioned law enforcement, premises liability. If someone trips and falls coming into the building, again, $1 million deductible, but then we have $5 million of coverage.
Auto accidents.
Yep.
With
Doesn't
the highway
cover physical
department,
damage on those
police department.
vehicles, but it covers our liability for a third party.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments?
I think this has been, the commissioners have a lot of foresight in at least going through this process and trying to see if this is worthwhile for the county. I think just by going through this endeavor, it's been a big benefit to how the county has been tracking claims. We've always done a great job defending claims for years here at St. Joseph County, and we still continue to do so. But just the modernization of the receipt of information and working with JWF and tracking claims and costs related thereto has been a big improvement that's allowed you guys to get to this point here. A lot of the benefit or thanks to that has to go to like Peter Agostino and Jim Groves, who do a lot of the defense work here at the county, that have just provided oodles of information to JWF and to our county officials regarding the claims and the defense thereof. So it's your political decision whether to do it, but whether you decide to go down the road or not has really benefited the county.
And I agree with that, and I was glad 2 years ago that I wanted to move forward with this, so I'm glad that you did move forward with this so we could have this opportunity. So yes, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve this liability coverage.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, probate court request approval to apply for 2019 Title II grant.
Cheryl Rush, Controller at Juvenile Justice Center, 1000 South Michigan. I'm here to ask approval to apply for the 2019 Title II grant for $132,900. We're going to use that to implement informal diversion plan program, teen court program.
Questions or comments? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve to apply for this 2019 Title II grant for
Second.
the JJC.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Next, Department of Public Works. First item is the consent agenda. I will note there's an irrevocable standby letter of credit for the New Prairie Knolls subdivision, Section 1, first replat, and an irrevocable standby letter of credit, Zmizlo's Prairie View subdivision. Questions or comments regarding either of these items? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve this Public Works consent agenda?
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, request approval of NDOT contract R36882 Edison Road and Ash Road intersection improvement roundabout change order number 1.
Good morning, Jessica Clark, County Engineer with offices here in the County City Building, room 732. Before you is a change order number 1 for your consideration. It is an increase to the contract of $6,954.70. It will increase the overall contract amount to $1,266,438.83. It's approximately a 0.55% increase. The work was necessary to better transition a adjacent street approach into the intersection project where there was concrete that was underneath, and in order to match up the grades and have smoother transition, we needed to remove that and replace it with asphalt.
Questions or comments? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve this update of the NDOT contract R-36882 for the Edison Road and Ash Road intersection.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank
Thank you. Pardon me. Next up, we can go to old business. Item on the request approval of UniFirst contract. Is there a motion to remove this from the table or whatever it is?
From the chair, from the table. So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item is active.
Thank you.
No, this is just to let us discuss the,
Helen Wachowski, Maintenance Department, lower level, County City Building. We request approval of the revised contract for the floor mats that are used in all the county buildings downtown, as well as the Mishawaka County Service Building.
any questions or comments? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve this UniFirst contract?
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now you're done.
Thank you.
Yeah. You may have a seat now.
All right, moving on to public comments. Are there any public comments?
I have a public comment just because I want to express my deepest sympathy for the young girl from Mishawaka High School that was murdered in the area that I live. So, again, my deepest sympathy to her family.
Any other public comments? Commissioner Thomas?
I know before the meeting, me and many of the people in the room did discuss that issue informally. And it is tragic, and it's very fresh, and it's young lives at stake, and unborn life. It's been reported that I've received a lot of calls or concerns about an atheist site in the lobby of the County City Building, and as a public location, everybody does have a right to speak, whether it's for a certain God or against whatever the belief system is, and I think somebody was quoted saying that we accepted their request without change, but I think their actual request did have a promotional website or phone number that I believe was removed. So, because we were not endorsing one over the other. So, citizens have that right. I know some people said, well, make them go outside. Every American citizen has the right to be heard. Please remember that. One of the joys of the holiday season, if you celebrate any holidays or not. Thank you.
Any other public comments? You got 3 minutes to address the board.
Hi, Deborah Durrell, 21677 Otten Road, South Bend. I just came out of the Redevelopment Commission meeting. There is quite a bit of business going on.
I'm sorry, there's a lot of what?
Business
Business, thank you.
going on toward development. We all care about jobs. We all want a stable economy. I think where the public is still feeling they don't have a voice is what kind of economy are we looking at? We have several people who have been working very diligently to have a voice and to find out exactly what is happening in the new Carlisle area. We do have some good information, although it's not all agreed with. We are wondering when we are going to be invited into this conversation and given some detailed information regarding our many often stated concerns. We do not want to wait until the plan is finalized and more money is spent before we are involved in the process. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just came from a meeting of the redevelopment commission, and they pretty much said, contact Ms. Clark. They kind of have an open door policy, it sounded like to me. So I think that you should, if you have concerns or questions, you should take that up with Ms. Clark and Mr. Shalio. And I know they've had several public information meetings down in New Carlisle. So I would encourage you to reach out to Mr. Clark and Ms. Shalio. That's what I heard half hour ago.
Yes, I realize this is not a Q&A session, but just to answer that, Jessica Clark has made herself very available. She has shared much information, but how this all fits together in the puzzle as far as the master plan has not been shared. And while we understand that it's a massive effort, the puzzle pieces of the public and our understanding and our approval has not been involved yet from the master plan perspective.
Thank you.
I would just add comment, as you well know and stated, it's not a Q&A session, but you do have the ability to speak now that we hear you, and I believe that they have a time with the redevelopment commission that allows you to speak, don't they?
She just exercised that right.
Okay, and I think you wrote a letter to the Voice of the People the other day, a very nice letter, and of course, uniting and getting other people informed is an important thing. So there's those opportunities. I believe you've requested to meet with the commissioners. You notice, when there was issues about granting them authority to act without commissioners' authority, giving them, I think it was the issue of the MetroNet. I voted against that because normally everything that they do at that level is supposed to come to this board for final ratification and approval. But I think they were given an exemption on that, which I voted against. As far as master plan goes, Jessica, I don't know if you're in a position right now to answer this, but I know there's some master plan issues on the county website. I know that some of them relate to this New Carlisle project. Do you mind? Are you in a position to answer that, if you don't mind?
Okay. Jessica Clark, County Engineer, Office here in room 732, the County City Building. Yes, we do have the ongoing efforts and aspects of master planning that we've been performing over the last year, basically. A lot of information does get put on the county website. We have had, as our county attorney alluded to, we've had some public information meetings. There are still more public information meetings of where we engage that feedback and input. And we'll be discussing more. Really, the effort we've been doing to date has been a lot of data collection and information and trying to analyze and look at that information. And now we're starting to look more into how do we use that information to help make better informed decisions. And that's really the next step of what those public information meetings will focus on.
From your point of view, does the board seem to listen when the citizens present ideas?
Which board are you referring to?
Well, the redevelopment commission.
In my experience, again, within the redevelopment commission, we do encourage public comment. Each member individually makes their decisions, but they do hear those comments. And I know I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for the other members of the board, but we do hear and listen and absolutely make decisions and or change decisions, alter plans, alter adjustments based on that feedback and input we receive.
And have you had the chance to see, I guess that's my first question, the county website where it lists economic development master plans? Is that as updated, to the best of your knowledge, is that as accurate right now as possible?
We update it regularly as things are approved or move forward and/or as meetings are held, because really it's mostly the meeting minutes and updates we do receive from our consultants and that type of thing.
Thank you for that, and thank you for all you do. I know you're a very key asset to the whole county operation, and I certainly wasn't surprised when Mr. Durrell complimented you. You've been very helpful with supplying data, because you are
We try
a
to.
very key member to this whole
Best that
county
we can.
government. And thank you for that. So, Ms. Durrell, you heard that the county website has, if you go to the economic development zone, we'll have some master plan information.
And I'm glad that county website is so transparent now, as it hadn't been in the past, so we have that new one, so I'm glad that that's there.
It'd be nice if there was even improvements. I've noticed that the city of South Bend's website lists attendance of the elected officials and how they vote on issues. It'd be nice if the county website would maybe list do the same thing. Just an idea.
Any other public comments?
Thank you. Dan Caruso, 305 Compton Street, New Carlisle. I just came from the redevelopment commission meeting, and Mr. Shalio made a comment that everything over in New Carlisle was shovel-ready, which, as somebody commented at the meeting, scares me. I'm not against growth. I'm not against, of course, job creation, but I want it to be a living wage for the people that work there, and I want these businesses who are going to operate there in our valley to meet what they promised they would do with job hiring, with paying a living wage, and if they don't, there's got to be a penalty. And right now, we go back and look, and no, that's okay. We'll let them go this time. And my friend Judy Rubleski brought up that we should act like bankers. Don't do the tax abatements anymore. You have any potential builder out there come in and put down a 2/7 deposit, and if they don't meet, say, the 100 people they promised to hire at a living wage, that's our money. You don't get it back. That's your penalty for not meeting the requirement that you said you were going to meet. I just wonder, I worry when they say shovel-ready, whether these potential businesses that will come into our area are being vetted to see if they've operated somewhere before, what kind of footprint they've left in that area. I really am impressed with all the information we get at these meetings. Honestly, I never realized this much information came out at all these meetings I've been attending, and I appreciate the openness of these proceedings. But I live in New Carlisle. I don't want my water poisoned. I don't want my family's water poisoned. I don't want my friends' soil poisoned. And I don't want New Carlisle to become Gary East, where people come in, develop, and then play the shell game, as the Wall Street Journal talked about recently with the Honeywoke that left South Bend, went to New Jersey, and now they're going to North Carolina. They're just, you play the shell game, move around, and you get the best bang for your buck as a business and leave an empty warehouse where you were operating before, which is what I'm afraid is going to happen with New Carlisle if we're not careful. And I trust that you all have our best interests in mind and that these businesses coming in are being vetted. And I also would like to ask, what is the definition of severely delinquent property? It just came to me when that report was given. What is that definition? Thank you.
Two quick comments. One, I don't believe there are many sites in New Carlisle that are shovel-ready. I think one of the goals is to get sites to the point where they're certified till they could be. So I don't believe, if I will verify with Mr. Shalio, I don't believe that is the current state. And from a severely delinquent, those would be taxes that have gone through the tax sale. So folks would have an opportunity to purchase those properties and make up the delinquent property taxes, and that has not happened. So some of these have been going through this process for years, if not even decades. So
I would add that the word severely is objective. You know, everybody thinks it means something else. Obviously, delinquent property means delinquent. In the past, this board made a decision that a family would have to miss a year and a half, 3 tax payments before they would go on the tax rolls. Because when the economy was crumbling and there were so many homes and families and businesses at stake, we didn't want to add misery to the pain they were suffering. Now, whether we still follow the year and a half, 3 payments rule, I'm not sure, but I hope we do. You know. Basically, the treasurer provides a list. My paperwork said see Exhibit A. I didn't have Exhibit A, and I didn't want to labor the conversation. I'll wait for the Tribune to print it. At the bottom will be a list of how many properties. I know when I started as a commissioner, and Commissioner Stellny shortly later, they had not had a tax sale in probably 8 years. And there was probably 18,000 parcels on that list not paying taxes. And we slowly started introducing the sales, cognizant of and aware that people are struggling through the economic crisis. But then also realization we've got to get stuff on tax rolls. And if people see that if you don't pay, nothing happens, we slowly started going through that. So over the years, that 18,000 list is down to, I think our last tax sale was 2,700, and the one prior to that, 1,800. So those are much more manageable numbers, you know. And some properties people will just never want. Hence is why we also have the certificate sale to help entice. So there's regular tax sales and a certificate sale.
Any other public comments? Seeing none, motion to recess is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Tough luck. We are recessed.